What's up guys, welcome back to my show. We are doing a blueberry jam today. Now for those of you that are new to my channel, this is a channel where we just talk about canning. So whether it's jams, jellies, preserves, or pickling, this is the channel for you. So if you're coming back, welcome back. If you're new, that's what we're all about. On today's episode, we are doing my favorite jam, blueberry jam. I've never made a blueberry jam before, so I'm really excited about this one. The blueberries are just coming into season right now in California, here in Northern Cal, where I live. So I'm really excited about these. We have about 5 cups of blueberries here, and we're gonna put that together with a lemon, a zest of lemon, and the lemon juice with 2 cups of sugar. Now normally you'd want to do much higher quantity of sugar, so about 3 to 4 cups. But I'm knocking it down a little bit. I don't want to have it too sugary. I know these blueberries are super sweet. They're ripe, and it's fresh fruit, and I want to taste the fruit. I don't want to taste just the sugar. So I'm knocking it down in half. I might end up adding a little bit more sugar later on, but we're just gonna go with 2 cups for the time being. Now, normally I don't add pectin to my jams. I think it's inconvenience. If I can say that word. It's an inconvenience. It's a hassle to work with. A lot of people don't have it, and I feel like it prevents a lot of people from making jams. So you can totally make this jam without the pectin. Now I am gonna use it because I think it's gonna be a little bit runny if I don't use it. So this is liquid pectin, and you can pick this up at your local Amazon.com warehouse, which is where everybody gets everything these days. But if you don't want to use pectin, you're more than welcome not to use it. It's the only change you're gonna see in your jam is how runny it's gonna be. Now, I tend to like my jams runny. I like my eggs runny. None of my exes liked either jams or eggs runny, and you can take away from that what you will. But I think runny is always better. But I will add some pectin just to thicken it up a little bit. And we're gonna pair that up with a little bit of ground nutmeg here and cinnamon. I think that's gonna go really well. I've consulted with the food Bible. It's literally a book called the Flavor Bible, so I'm not making this up. But it's a great resource if you are looking to figure out like what you could pair things up with. So for example, blueberries, are often really recommended with cinnamon. That's like a high recommendation. Maple syrup, mascarpone, and peaches. The flavor of peaches and blueberries go really well. Other than that, you could use things like nutmeg, lime, honey, ginger. That actually sounds really good. Cream cheese, allspice, almond. So these are the kinds of flavors you could combine it. If you haven't gotten this book, I definitely suggest you check it out. I'm going to leave a link in the description. It's been really helpful to me in figuring out like what flavor combinations to use. But that's it. It's 5 simple ingredients, 6 if you use pectin. If not, no big deal. We're just gonna combine all of these together. We're gonna cook it for 20 minutes, and that's it. We're just gonna process them in boiling water for 10 minutes. I have a separate video on how to can, so please take a look at that, because I'm gonna skip over some of that process right there on canning, right? Because we don't need to go through it every single time. But if you are interested, if you're looking to see exactly how you might do canning at home, take a look at that video. I will note that because I'm cutting down the sugar on here, sugar is really important when you are making jams and jellies. Not just because it adds sweetness, but because it's also a preservative. So in general, sugar and honey are great preservatives. This is why the Egyptians have put their mummies inside of honey, and that's why we can look at them 4,000 years later and be like, oh yeah, that's that guy. Alright, so sugar and honey are really good preservatives, which is why you add them to these preserves, hence to preserve them. If you are going to be using this jam really quickly, like I plan to, like as I said in my other video when I made the cantaloupe jam, that lasted literally 2 or 3 days, so you really don't need that huge amount of sugar. It does help to thicken up your jams. So for fruits without a lot of pectin, such as blueberries, you do want to add more sugar if you want it to thicken up and you don't want to use pectin. But if you want to use pectin, you could cut down a little bit on the sugar. The two do interact, however, so you do need the sugar to also work with pectin. The important thing is you do need some sugar. You don't need too much sugar, but if you are storing these in a long-term storage, if you're gonna not eaten for a year, then you would want to use like the full amount of sugar, which would be 4 cups to the 5 cups of blueberries. All right. So with that, let's get started. So the first step here is turn on your stove, get it to as high as possible, and we're gonna add in our sugar here. So we're gonna bring that up to a boil. Make sure to give it a good stir. And whenever you're making any jams or jellies or whatnot, make sure you are using non-reactive pots and pans. Non-reactive would be something like this, which is made of stainless steel, made by All-Clad. Enameled cast iron skillets, such as the Le Creuset ones that you can find, are also non-reactive. What you don't want to use are aluminum ones, which are going to react with the acids in here, and they're going to give it a really foul taste and smell.
Now, just a word of caution here for all of you watching. This is Editor Sunel speaking. So make sure you don't do what I'm doing right here, which is combining the blueberries with sugar without crushing the blueberries first. Definitely crush the blueberries before you add the sugar, because otherwise what you're gonna get is the sugar scorching. Now, I do manage to salvage it here, but that is a big risk, so definitely don't do that.
And you can see it again, it's beautiful. Oh my god, it looks so good! The sugar hasn't quite dissolved yet, but it's going to happen, I think. I hope it will. So I'm just gonna let it go. I turned down the heat a little bit, but you can see it's already starting to bubble. So at this point I can start adding my other ingredients. Alright, so let's get in our lemon juice, about 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and about half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of freshly ground nutmeg. Now, I would say we definitely want to use liquid pectin on this because this is so liquidy, right? Like, I still like it runny, but it's gonna be way too runny. This is more like a syrup. So we're gonna toss in 1 packet of pectin. Whenever you're dealing with liquid pectin, you always want to make sure you add it after the fruits are boiling. Whereas if you're working with dry pectin, you want to use it before they start to boil. You want to cook this for a total of 20 minutes. We're about 3 minutes in. Make sure you're stirring frequently so that it doesn't burn. What I'm also doing is taking the back of this spatula here and crushing the blueberries so that I'm releasing all the juices in here. I think it's a good idea to try this out while you're cooking, so get some on a spoon. It's definitely sweet enough. It tastes delicious. I don't think it needs more sugar, but it is very liquid. I'm gonna think about it and might add another packet of liquid pectin to this to thicken it up, or optionally add more sugar, or probably both. I'll let it go for another 5 minutes and let's see what we get here. So we are about 15 minutes into this cooking process. You can see it's starting to thicken up nicely, but it's still saucy. So when I move this up, you can see how it's just running off the spatula. And it shouldn't be doing that. It should be pretty thick when it's going down. So it should be forming like a little, I don't know what you call it, like a thick stream. And instead it's just going lightly down. So this means it has not quite set yet, which means it needs more cooking. It might need more pectin, or it might need more sugar. Make sure you're using a flat bottom spatula. That's going to make it a lot easier to scrape the bottom of the pot here. Alright, so if you like your jam runny, we're about 20 minutes into this thing. If you like it runny, you could leave it at this, or alternatively you could add more pectin. I think I'm going to go risk it and add a little bit more pectin. I'm going to add about half a pouch here.
Okay, and Editor Sunel here once again interjecting to let you know that you do not need to add a second packet of pectin. It is absolutely perfect as it is right now. So skip the pectin, stick to 1 packet of pectin and the sugar.
You can tell that it is running slower and thicker now. So I think this is about done. You can take a look at it. It's running a lot thicker. Once it's in a spoon, it stays pretty not runny. So I would say this is done. I'm gonna turn it up. We're gonna can it. And it tastes delicious, actually. Oh my god. So I have my little jars boiling in the water over here. I'm gonna put them down. We're gonna can them. They're very hot, so be careful when handling these. Take about half a cup of your jam and get it in there. Okay. Alright, so when it's all said and done, we have 4 jars here of blueberry jam, about 24 ounces. We started off with 24 ounces of blueberries actually, but we did add 2 cups of sugar there and 2 packets of liquid pectin. Now, the liquid pectin I'm using is this one here, is Seto. You can use another brand if you can find another one that you prefer. You can use powdered pectin. I think liquid works better for this one. Honestly, when I'm looking at this jam here, so you can see, I don't know if you can see that in the video, but it's fairly thick. So this is thicker than I'm used to with blueberry jam. So you might be able to get away with 1 packet. You might even be able to get away with no pectin whatsoever, depending on how runny you like it. I know I think Bon Maman, or the famous nice little jars, they have their blueberry jam, but that's very I think they're blueberry preserves. I'm not sure, but they're super runny. So if you don't add pectin, you're gonna end up with something like that. On the sweetness, I would say it's less sweet than what you would get at the store one. So the same brand, Bon Maman, which is great because the other one is super sweet. This is, I think, just perfect. You taste a lot more of the blueberries. Make sure that when you start off cooking these, that you crush them a little bit or a lot before you add in the sugar. That's gonna really help ensure that your sugar doesn't burn. That was starting to happen to me when I was cooking there in the beginning, and I was getting a little bit worried. So make sure you break them apart first, cook the blueberries for 1 or 2 minutes, get them up to high heat, or crush them by your hands and off to the side, and then toss them into the pot. But it's a fairly simple recipe. It takes 20 minutes start to finish. I hope you give it a try. If you like blueberries, you definitely should. I processed these in the end, so boil them for 10 minutes. Take a look at the video I have on how to can. That's going to give you a lot more details on how to do it properly and safely. If you do plan to share these with other people or store them in long-term storage in your cabinets here. Besides that, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out a lot. Give me a thumbs up. That also helps. If you made it this far, it means you've gotten some value out of this video, whether it's entertainment or not. So just hit that thumbs up button. If you want to support me further, go to my website, chefsonel.com. I'm gonna have a form there you can fill out, and I'm gonna do a raffle or something every now and then where my biggest fans, presumably you, is gonna have a chance to win some of the jams that I'm making here. So blueberry, marmalade so far that I made, cantaloupe jams, any number of the things that I made that I have way too much of that I should not be eating personally. But yeah, I'm happy to share those with my subscribers. So we'll do a raffle. We'll figure out the details of that later. And if you stuck with me this long, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And check out some of my other videos here on the sidebar. Subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.